I mean, they've kept up that mentality though. Uh, the grindhouse mentality. Um, yeah, you could see it in that last game. It started out, with the Grizzlies going on a big run, and then the Spurs were able to weather that, and they went on their big run, and it kept the game close, and it kind of stayed close from there. But yeah, it was fun to watch. They've kept that grindhouse mentality, even without
Yeah,
Tony Allen, Mike Conley, Marc Gasol, all of those guys.
that grind off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um.
when Kyle mentioned the other day, he said the forum FedEx Forum must be the second most hype place to
Yeah.
play. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the other one you said was the Oracle
The
Arena. Is
the
that what you said?
no no the Phoenix
Oh,
arena.
Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Phoenix is good too. But Oracle
Yeah.
before they moved over to San Francisco was hype.
Oh
But you
yeah.
guys have seen the video of when the Grindhouse, Tony Allen, Marcus Gasol, Zach
Yeah.
Randolph were out there, and they had the whole arena chanting "Whoop that trick, whoop that
Right.
trick, whoop
uh,
that
I
trick."
I've probably heard that, or I probably
Dude,
see that, but I
man.
don't remember it.
Yeah, it's from that movie Hustle and Flow. Whoop that
Yeah.
trick, get him. And then they had all these white people in in Memphis chanting it too.
Yeah.
All these families chanting "Whoop that trick," man. That shit was wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing, also about the Spurs, yeah, I have this tweet pulled up to the side. I didn't share the link, unfortunately, but it's from this writer from the Athletic, Law Murray. He tweeted out, and I retweeted on the Twitter. Follow us at Shotcallers Show that on Twitter. So, but he says not one of these young Spurs shoot the three comfortably, like not a single one. And I think that really showed against the Grizzlies. I think I don't have their stats pulled up, but their 3-point percentage was like really really bad against the Grizzlies, and throughout the season it hasn't been great. They've been one of the highest shooting mid range teams in the
Yeah,
league.
both the teams, the
Yeah.
Spurs and the Grizzlies, both shoot extraordinarily low amount of threes compared to the
hmm
rest.
hmm and I would say like probably the only like good shooters on the Spurs is probably like Patty Mills maybe, but and also like I guess you could say Rudy Gay probably. I late in that game, he hit one big three to give them a chance to attempt to tie the game up, but obviously it wasn't enough. But it's funny that Rudy Gay was one of the big players to uh, make plays for the Spurs down the stretch. But yeah, they just need more shooters. I mean, they got a lot of young guys, and then I'm sure some of them can develop into shooters. But they, both of these teams, they're not really gonna with the NBA today anyway. They're probably not gonna make it far without being able to shoot many threes.
Yeah, they do have a lot of young pieces though. That's something that I think a lot of people don't understand is the Spurs are here to stay. Like
hmm
Lonnie Walker, DeJounte Murray, they they're here for a while. They have some really good players. Murray, I think he can definitely develop into a 3-point shooter. He has that mid range. I feel like yesterday he just was not on at all. He was missing some baskets he usually hits, but he can definitely develop into a shooter. Lonnie Walker can also develop into a shooter. That's the scary thing is like you have Pop and you have all these young pieces like them two, Keldon Johnson, Pop's gonna put it together, and
hmm
it's gonna be scary when he puts it together for the rest of the West.
They they could trade for a guy like Devonte Graham. Yeah,
Man, I don't know.
yeah,
They
They
yeah.
already
I
got
mean,
too many guards. I just named
Uh,
two guards. Why would you?
okay. Well, that's why I said trade. That's why I said trade. You trade one of those guards
You
for
I
ain't
don't know,
never
Devontae
played.
man.
Graham.
You ain't never
But
played 2K
it's
my GM before.
well,
I'm
I
ha-
know. I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. Okay.
I'm happy with the development that they've got going on thus far.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what I wonder is what's going to happen with DeMar DeRozan. His contract, I believe, is coming up, and
hmm
Yeah,
he can either opt in or opt out. And I
Yeah.
wonder where he might go after that. I wouldn't mind seeing him in Dallas, despite what I said earlier, because being a second or third option where he can actually go to the mid range and play off of Luca, I think that's something terrific because we know Luca can stretch the floor, we know Porzingis can stretch the floor, and then when you need another attacking option, it's something to explore because I've never seen an offensive player enter Rick Carlisle's system and not flourish in some kind of way as far as adjusting the scheme or what have you. So.
other than Rajon Rondo.
Oh, I mean that's different. Rajon Rondo is like he's trying to buck the train to wherever he goes.
Yeah,
It's got to be his way or the highway.
DeRozan on the Mavs, that'd be nice to see, especially him going 5 for 21 in the playoffs.
I know, and him.
Oh, and you're coming at me for coming off the top rope. But that's the thing. He doesn't have to shoot 21 shots in the playoffs if he's
Yeah,
playing with Luka
Well,
Doncic
however many
and
he
company.
shoots, they're not going in the playoffs. I'll tell you that.
But 5 for
cool.
10
He's
is better than 5
cursed.
for
He has
21.
like a little T Mac curse on him.
He could be cursed. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yep. But so that's it for that one. You want to get into the meat and potatoes, Kyle? Because I know you're glowing over here, ready to talk
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Hey,
That
fresh,
Yeah.
fresh on his dome.
I mean, yeah. Let's go ahead and get into Lakers Warriors. Uh, it definitely lived up to the hype. Just LeBron versus Steph, and that's what we got. I mean, LeBron and AD in that first half, they were struggling a lot to get stuff going, but down the stretch, they were able to pull it together and ended up pulling out a win. Well, whenever I saw that clip of the game winner though by LeBron, I thought it was like closer to the end, like I thought there was like 20 seconds left or less, but there was like a whole minute left on the clock when he hit that three, and there was like stops on like both ends. Like after LeBron hit that, like neither other team was able to score, which was kind of weird because I mean, it makes sense because both teams are solid defensively, but then they also have great offensive weapons, so a little weird to see, but yeah,
Oh,
it was so
I
much
mean,
fun.
both teams were a little hobbled, but the
Yeah,
defense in that game was terrific, man. I
yeah,
can't even tell you. Draymond Green was all over the place.
hmm,
Guys were getting blocked on
yeah,
both ends of the floor,
uh-huh.
and dude, like, although that one post of a Draymond Green, I think he was trying to post up who was it? Alex Caruso, trying to put him under the
Yeah,
basket, but
yeah.
I don't think Draymond Green actually recorded a successful field goal in that game because he got him all the way
Oh.
under the bucket, but then got blocked or didn't even get the lay-in to go in. But I'm ripping on him. But Draymond Green, some amazing deflections, great post defense and poking the ball away, great communication, covering both guys on the pick and roll, stunting towards the
Yeah,
guy that's rolling, then
yeah,
recovering, or stunting towards the ball handler and then recovering to the roller and
yeah.
breaking shots up. So man, that was what a sight.
Mhm.
What did you guys want to say about the end of the game where LeBron James hit that logo three, where he got poked in the eye, where
Yeah, yeah.
Draymond Green was fouling him in the
Mhm.
face? Do you think that was a flagrant fireworks? What about Steph Curry? What about coaching? What do you guys want to say about that game?
I want to start off saying Andrew Wiggins.
The Wigs
And
taking on LeBron James head on.
he was doing his thing. He was being aggressive the whole game, especially LeBron coming off injury, then coming off another injury. It's probably not in the best shape of his career. It definitely, I feel like all the injuries he's had in the past, which haven't kept him out, it's kind of like finally catching up to his body. So Wiggins, he had to be aggressive, and he was. Unfortunately for him, it's just him and Curry scoring, literally. But
Mm-hmm.
um, besides that, I mean, for the Lakers side, I think Schroeder has to do more. For being their third guy, he can't go 3 for 14. That's unacceptable. Especially when they start playing teams like the Clippers or the Nuggets or the Suns, especially the Suns. He's not gonna be able to go 3 for 14 and expect LeBron to carry him or Anthony Davis to carry.
Yeah. I mean, he did just come back from COVID, because he had COVID, I believe it was. Um, so he did come back from that, but he did have a rough game. Uh, Back to what Richard said a little bit, Draymond Green stunted to him one time off the pick and roll, and he tried to hit Dennis Schroeder tried to hit the roll man, but Draymond Green read it like a book and stole that pass. Uh, there was also, but he was making some plays. It wasn't great defensively on Curry, but he did have this one chase down or like fast break block on Curry, which was preceded by maybe like a Draymond Green block on Alex Caruso or something. Like there was like blocks going back and forth, and like
Mm-hmm.
it was just
Block
it was a
parties.
I know, yeah, especially in the first half. That's why I texted you guys after I finished that first half. I was like, man, this game is hype. Like holy shit,
Okay,
like
texted me at work.
I know.
Yeah, man, that game was wild. It was low scoring for a good chunk of it. It was really
Hmm.
rough on the Warriors side of the
Yeah.
ball. Besides Steph Curry
Hmm.
and besides Andrew Wiggins, how many, without looking at the box scores, how many Warriors do you think got beyond 10 points?
Two.
None, zero. There were a
Oh.
couple with 10 points and a lot of others
Mm.
with 9 and 5 points, but
Oh, okay.
it was just a big pain for the Warriors to try to score because they were hard doubling, not letting Steph even catch the ball a lot of times,
Hmm.
and that's not always a problem when you can get Draymond Green in a 4-on-1 four on 4-on-3 situation to hit the open man, make the easy pass, but guys aren't finishing shots. Juan Toscano Anderson had a couple of threes that were
Yeah.
kind of timely and kept the lead at 5, kept the lead at 8, but overall, Jordan Poole, Kevon Looney when he was out there wasn't finishing. Kent Bazemore wasn't finishing anything. Mulder 2 for 5. So these threes that go in when you have the likes of Sean Livingston in the mid range or Draymond Green or Andre Iguodala for a clutch three aren't happening. And when it comes down to a final 3-point shot by Steph Curry, um, this might sound controversial, but I don't think that shot should have gone to Steph Curry at the end because with 2 seconds to go, when they're down two, or
Max Kellerman over here.
no, no,
Give
no,
me Iguodala.
no. I'm not trying to say that. I think he's definitely the greatest shooter of all time and everything,
Yeah.
and he's clutch. But the thing is, he's shorter than everyone. How are they? How is he going to catch it and get a shot up in 2 seconds? That's appropriate over lengthy defense.
What?
I'm just looking
When
at Robin. I'm
This
just
guy
looking
don't
at
get
Robin.
paid millions of dollars to learn how to do that. He does it all the time.
no, yeah, but with 2 seconds to go, no, he doesn't. And especially if they're going to play him the way that they did.
He has one of the quickest releases in the game.
I
He can
understand.
easily hit a
I'm
couple
not.
dribbles,
I'm
and he
not
can pull up from
saying.
40.
I'm not saying he doesn't have the range or the quick release. I'm saying they're not allowing him to even catch it. It ended in a turnover in this game.
So you're saying that they should use him as a decoy?
Yep, and they should have
Yeah.
gone to Andrew Wiggins.
Oh yeah,
I,
give me the wigs.
Not saying that he's clutch in this moment or that we've seen it or that it's proven, but I think that could have had a better success rate in this particular game against this particular defensive personnel. They're playing the best defense in the league, which is the Lakers, #1 defense, despite the injuries. They're gonna sell out on Steph Curry. They should have decoyed him in this
I,
particular situation.
I see where you're coming from because sometimes your star player gets a lot of attention, so you give it to the wingman or Andrew Wiggins. I'm gonna call him the wingman now. All of that, but at the end of the day, I want my best player to have the ball, whether it's him
And that's
passing to
totally
somebody
fair.
else, whether
For
that's
sure, that's
that.
fair. But
That's
with
how it is.
but with
But
2 seconds, he doesn't have time to pass.
yeah, you do.
There's, for a lob, but
You can
I'm just
pass in
saying
2 seconds. You act like 2 seconds is like this. Like, dude, you have a couple dribbles.
for sure. But it's the #1 defense in the league. I think that the options are more limited in this situation. They're not
Number
playing the
one,
Grizzlies. They're playing the Grizzlies, and that's different. They're playing the Grizzlies tomorrow.
why is Kyle just laughing over here?
because this is so great. We literally had a Max Kellerman situation. Like,
But that's
give
not.
me Iguodala.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay. You're right. It was just funny because it was kind of
Kyle, where do you stand?
I didn't say for the title. I said
No,
to get the seventh seed.
yeah.
It wasn't for the title. It was if aliens were invading.
Yeah.
Let's get that
You're
right.
Aliens
You know
have the
what?
death ray pointed at Earth.
Give me Iguodala.
Oh my God.
but no.
But the thing is, Max Kellerman's saying that for the clicks. This is
Yeah.
obviously not for the clicks over here. We got no clicks yet.
Yeah,
So,
we need to clip it and ship it. That's
Yeah.
how we'll get clicks.
you're right.
But no, I feel like Warriors fans are kind of overhyping Jordan Poole a little bit. He did almost dunk on LeBron though. He hit somebody with a nice quick little crossover, hit him with the 1-2 real quick, blew by him, and then nearly baptized LeBron James. I know Worldwide Wall, he tweeted about that after
So
he rewatched the game. But I feel like you need to get more out of him.
Well,
He
dude,
definitely has
I put that
potential.
on. You're right. He has potential.
Mhm,
He's
mhm,
he's able to space the floor. He had some success in his minutes. He
mhm,
played a lot of the first quarter, and he basically didn't play the second or third quarter. I put that on Steve Kerr. They needed
mhm.
offense. There were times
Yeah.
where they put Steph Curry on the bench for I think 5 minutes worth of the second quarter, or
Mhm.
was it? It was the fourth quarter. One of those two quarters. And I was like, man, and LeBron's out here. Like, how are they going to
Yeah.
manufacture offense? It was the fourth quarter, and they were whittling the lead down. And I was like, what's going on? They didn't have Jordan Poole. They had Kevon Looney and Draymond Green out there. Like, how are you guys going to manufacture points? So I definitely put that on Steve Kerr a little bit, not getting Jordan Poole out there when he had some success. Put on Michael Mulder. He's a Steph Curry lookalike. Get some attention. Maybe he confuses the team. So who knows? That's what I'm thinking. So shout outs to Jordan Poole. And I had another huge shout out for the Lakers coaching staff. If you were done talking about the Warriors, Kyle.
I mean, I was just gonna make fun of Kevon Looney, but
Oh,
I'll
let's
say
do it.
that for later. No, I mean, he just he just he's just like kind of big and goofy, and like I feel like he could be more of a presence down low, but I feel like he gets knocked around a little too often. Uh, kind of looks like an ogre in my opinion, but he could definitely be.
God.
I mean, he's like.
That's
Is
too
this
far,
is this
bro.
I
is
That's
mean,
this
too far.
basketball analysis?
no,
What are we talking about?
That's
well, I
too
said I
far,
was gonna
dog.
make fun of him, but
You called him an
no,
ogre.
I know he's
Who
like
says
big
that?
and like I,
You got to give us an ogre impression.
he's
The
Yeah,
like
go
number one
ahead.
ogre is Shrek.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Give us a Shrek impression.
no, no, I can't do
You got to say donkey one time.
that. No,
You got to. You can't
Yeah,
call
you
people
no,
can't.
an ogre. You
Yeah, you
can't
can't
give
do
it if you
well,
that.
can't take it.
I wasn't gonna go to Shrek ogre. I was just gonna be like big, big dumb ogre. Like, oh,
Oh, my
give
man, you
Oh
me,
calling
my
him
give
dumb.
god!
no,
You called
You
him.
no.
gotta give
I'm
us a
not calling
donkey.
him dumb.
Give
You
us a
just called
donkey.
him dumb.
Donkey. Donkey. There you go. You got the donkey, bro.
Somebody clip that. Clip that. Clip
Oh
that and
my
send it to
god.
me.
No.
Clip that and send it to me. Somebody, please. I'll buy you a chicken. Clip that and send it to me.
Oh my god.
That's
Well,
going viral. I'm gonna make sure that goes
I'm,
viral.
I'm, I'm sorry, Kevon Looney. Oh man,
No.
I'm gonna
you
send
don't
that
look
to
like
I'm gonna send
Shrek.
that to Mr. Looney too. I'm gonna get him on the show next week.
No. Yeah.
We're gonna get a head-to-head like Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman over here with Kevon Looney and Kyle.
It's gonna be more
Oh
like
my god.
Richard Sherman and Skip Bayless.
Oh yeah, or Mark Cuban versus Skip Bayless when
Yeah,
he took him apart. Oh
basically
man.
anybody versus Skip Bayless.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh my
But
god. Well,
but
oh yes, you were saying the main
he
point.
he he's underwhelming for your
Bro,
starting
you're
center.
still
No. Okay.
bro, you're still roasting the guy. Okay, Rich. What were you
No.
gonna say about the Lakers? That's
Dude,
we
I
gotta
mean,
so
nobody else had barely anybody had 10 points. They need more offense. And then also on defense, he's letting guys like Andre Drummond like get by him and stuff. And Andre Drummond's not good either. Like, yeah, especially on this Lakers squad. Like Montrezl Harrell and Andre Drummond have been like really underwhelming this season, even with LeBron and AD out. Like they're really underwhelming. And then if you want to pull up that other tweet that I had about Anthony Davis, the
I got you.
interesting
Oh, and
fact,
that leads to what I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna go ahead and
yeah,
pull that up. 1 second.
yeah,
I
AD
got it
went
right
like,
here. Here it comes. Shout out the tweet author, Kyle. Here you go.
yeah,
awesome.
shout out to Stats Williams at Stat Williams on Twitter, Matt Williams. I don't know who he writes for, but I'll look at that later. But Anthony Davis went 1 for 11 when either Andre Drummond or Montrezl Harrell was out there on the floor with him, and he shot much better when he played center. And maybe that, obviously having those guys, maybe that's good for like matchup dependent things, but it's like they also have Marcus Gasol sitting on the bench, for matchup dependent things, and uh just for how much they're paying him, they're probably gonna have to make some kind of changes, especially at the like center, uh, power forward kind of position after this season. Just
Nah, so I'm not sure. I mean, you're probably right. There's going to be a lot of roster reconstruction. This team isn't afraid to change things up, and they have the cream of the crop as far as picking their free agents and being a destination and buyout guys. But they have a plethora of tools in the toolkit. They can go whichever way they want to. And I was gonna say the actual point, but first I want to get out a little Anthony Davis, like smack talk, man. That guy was not showing up. Obviously, he looks a little bit hobbled. He's been coming back from a long injury. He wasn't aggressive whatsoever as far as shooting the ball, going to the rim, and he did play outstanding defense in the second half. Clogging up the lane, stopping drives, and playing good defense out on the perimeter. So props to him in that sense. But in the first half, when we had Drummond and Montrezl Harrell out there, whenever he caught the ball on the perimeter, he'd have a mismatch. He'd have a short guy on him. He'd have Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, and he'd pass it back out to the perimeter to give it back to Alex Caruso, give it back to Dennis Schroeder, who wasn't having a good time at that moment. And as soon as they took the centers out, and then Anthony Davis played center. Of course, there was some more positives going on, better floor spacing for LeBron. Um, and so, I was texting JV, and he was like, Anthony Davis needs the easiest things possible, man. He needs to be set up for him to score. And that's
Mhm.
only partially true. He's
Yeah.
definitely flourished more having
Mhm.
attention taken away from him, having LeBron James on the
Yeah.
court. But the main props I wanted to give was to the coaching staff. A lot
Mhm.
of organizations, a lot of coaches, a lot of staffs um, put a lot of weight on who's making the most money on the roster, on who they signed, who's the big acquisition. We just got Andre Drummond. We have a big three. We're not going to deviate from this. This is going to work. Whereas you see Montrezl Harrell, big acquisition. Andre Drummond, big acquisition. Dennis Schroeder, their starting point guard, not having it go in this moment. He just pulls them all second half. Let's put in Wesley
Mhm.
Matthews, guys that's going to defend.
Yeah. Mhm.
Put in Alex Caruso, somebody they got to stop against Draymond Green, a poke away, or against Steph Curry
Yeah,
immediately when
Curry.
he got put in. So
Yeah.
guys that are going to contribute in that moment is who's going to play. This is a do or die situation.
Yeah.
Seven seed isn't that much better than the eight seed, but going on that side of the bracket all the way through is basically a death toll, a death knell for the Lakers.
Mhm.
They have a better shot going up this side of the bracket with a seven seed, and they secured it. It was a do or die situation. So major props to Frank Vogel for doing what he thought was right in the moment and not succumbing to external pressure. So, and he did it last year too.
Yeah, shout out to Alex Caruso. He hit like he had to force up a three at one point, and it hit like the side of the backboard. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of like getting tilted or getting in his
Hanging his
own head,
head.
yeah, he made that play that you were talking about. He stole the ball right back from Steph Curry of all people. He was definitely a soldier this game. He played great defense on Curry. Uh, Definitely better than Schroeder. I mean, Schroeder's good on defense, but Curry was just having his way against Schroeder for the most part. But Alex Caruso, on the other hand, he gave him a hard time, a much harder time, in my opinion, and he gave you good minutes uh, on offense as well. He had a couple of buckets like finishes off of LeBron James. Just like being in the high post and then having cutters go through. He had a couple buckets like that. Uh, he had a good game, and that's why they keep him around despite his he's not the best scorer that they have and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then KCP, I wanted to bring him up real quick. I know he's a basic 3-and-D player, but he seems like the player that can actually knock down shots when you need him to knock down shots.
Hmm.
It's when they're cold or they're missing a lot of shots or they're down like 7 points, it's always him that's making something that sparks
Hmm.
a run.
You're right. Mm-hmm. He
Yeah,
was
and I
their third biggest contributor last season in their playoff run, their
yeah,
finals run.
and I think for him to be consistent, injuries, no injuries, whoever's in, whoever's out, it's important for them to have, especially somebody who Schroeder or Montrezl Harrell can rely on, because he's going to be playing a lot with the second unit, and especially with Schroeder when LeBron goes out. So it's just good to see him. Way better to see him play than Denny Green, that guy. But and then I know you were talking about Harold Kyle. I like him. I know he's not going to bring you 10 points, 15 points, but he's an energy guy. You need one of those on your team to win a championship. You always need an energy guy. He may just go in there and do a dirty foul or whatever it is, but he's going to make your team get more hype and have more energy. You need one of those crazy people on your team. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
so
going
I
to take
like
the advantage of this opportunity to talk about the 2011 10-year anniversary of the Mavericks run with Deshaun Stevenson on the
that's
Mavericks.
exactly what I was going to say.
When the guy that has an ATM machine in his house, and that guy, it's like they got the Heat on their knees. It's like 3-2. The Mavericks are about to close it out. And then Rick Carlisle is giving a pregame speech. He said, "All right, guys, go out there, close it out, execute. Don't talk shit, just execute." And then Deshaun Stevenson raises his hand. He goes, "Coach, I'm gonna talk a lot of shit." And he goes, "Well, I knew you were, but nobody else." so he'll always have a
Like
spot in my heart.
him and even like Brian Cardinal, you expected him to come in and do some
The
fouls,
custodian,
nothing
the
else.
custodian. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Sop up the minutes, that's for sure.
That's funny. I
He
remember
just
him.
looks like an ogre. You know what? I'm just kidding.
Oh God, nah. Yeah, I wouldn't say anything mean like that. I knew you wouldn't say that, Robin. Yeah.
Yeah.
As Dirk used to call Cardinal, He'd say, "You're just a big burger." He'd call everybody a burger, is what Dirk would call everybody. So whenever he got to the Mavericks and he was playing against Luca, they'd be playing 5-on-5. He'd be like, "Bring me that young burger." That's what Dirk would call him.
That is that a German thing or something? I feel
I
like
think it no,
that's so weird.
it's a Dirk thing, bro. You gotta hear him like talking shit to his teammates during warm-ups and stuff. And shout out to Dirk. He made kind of a rare appearance on a podcast I listened to, the Bill Simmons podcast, very popular. I'm sure people know about it. But he just had an interview for about 45 minutes talking about his sons and how he's playing, some stories about Nash and the 2007, 2006, 2011 runs. So
Mm,
I thought it was really interesting, and we're all big Dirk fans here. I think
yeah,
everyone that watches the NBA is, so it's worth a listen. That's for sure.
yeah. I'll probably definitely check that out. I didn't know that.
Mhm. Um, but yeah, so I give props to the Lakers coaching staff. Uh, Robin's giving props to Montrezl Harrell and KCP. Great, terrific player. And then Kyle's talking all the shit about everybody.
I
Um,
I thought Kuzma. I mean, KCP's he's that 3 and D guy, but he gives you a little bit of spice in there too. He's able to go off the dribble and go up for big dunks and stuff at times too. So
Yeah, he can definitely
uh,
be a little
um,
spicy. And I wanted to kind of expand on what you said, Robin. You're saying that KCP can stretch the floor from three and be a kind of reliable catch and shoot presence. Even though he's not quite like J.R. Smith on the previous Cavaliers LeBron James teams, where LeBron James could run pick and roll or pick and pop with J.R. Smith, and J.R. Smith could kind of step back in motion and shoot. That's not really KCP's strong suit, but he's not afraid to take any shot. Whereas somebody like Wes Matthews, who did give it on defense, give it all on defense, have some good shots, there are times where he can kind of pass away from shots that are a little bit too difficult. That's not what's going to happen with Kentavious Caldwell Pope. He'll make smart plays, but also isn't afraid to make difficult plays too.
Yeah.
So that's for sure. Okay, so we've got basically the play-in tournament covered.
yeah.
Do you
Uh,
guys want to take a quick look at the weekend's matchups?
well, I was kind of thinking about the first round. Lakers versus Suns. I obviously the Lakers just getting into that seventh seed, that was probably what was most important to them. But I feel like the Phoenix Suns match up against the Lakers probably the best out of the top four teams in the West. I feel like you know the the Phoenix Suns are probably the hardest team to beat in the West, uh, like that the Lakers could face. I they're great. They're solid on defense. They've got Chris Paul and D Book developing Aiton. They're going to be a tough team to defeat, and they're also all healthy as well. Like Utah,
Mm-hmm.
they're a little bit weak. I mean, they're Donovan Mitchell is expected to be back for the first round or game one of the first round. Uh, but he's still a question mark. Is he going to be contributing as much as he was before he got hurt? Uh, Denver's hurt a little bit. Um, uh, that third seed, obviously Jamal Murray out. Uh, but I feel like they could have matched up well against Denver. And then I mean the Clippers is. I mean that would have been cool to see in the first round, but obviously their seeding wouldn't have allowed that to happen, and the Clippers were trying to avoid them at all costs anyway. So, uh, but yeah,
Yeah, and so you mentioned Denver and Phoenix as far as playing well and being healthy for the most part, other than the
mhm,
Jamal Murray injury.
mhm,
And some of the interesting, I guess, threads as far as who's been playing super well all season long. The Jazz have been pretty healthy, and
mhm,
unluckily they have this physical injury to Donovan Mitchell. But Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, they both got COVID near the beginning of the pandemic, so that kind of was long behind them. You see
mhm,
somebody like the Celtics, where Jason Tatum got it at the turn of this year and he's still dealing with the after effects of that.
mhm, mhm,
Chris Paul and the Suns. Chris Paul didn't have a very deep playoff run with the Thunder, and the Suns didn't play a playoff series or run like the Lakers did. So they've been healthy all year long. And then
mhm,
Jokic got COVID during the whole layoff. But when the league shut down, when he was over in Serbia, or yeah, Serbia. Is that the right one? Yeah, Serbia. And
I think so.
so
Yeah.
guys like that kind of got that, fortunately or unfortunately out of the way, have had these long productive seasons, and we kind of have less questions about them going into the playoffs compared to some of these other guys. So that's really interesting. You're right.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah, so
excited to see the rematch. I'm sorry, I'm excited to see the rematch though. The Mavericks Clippers. See how the Mavericks have progressed. Because in reality, what they did in the offseason was to beat the Clippers in a sense, because they lost to the Clippers last year. So everything they were doing, quote unquote, get a tough guy like James Johnson, even though he's not on the team anymore. That was all to kind of improve what they couldn't do last year, and now they have a chance to do it again. I don't think nobody thinks they're gonna win, but it's definitely gonna be a good series because the Clippers have shown a lot of weaknesses this year, unlike they did last year. Um, that's gonna be fun
yeah,
to see. And then my big thing, I think the game that starts it off on Saturday is gonna be the Heat and Bucks. I mean, in the first round, that's gonna be
I know that's
that might be the best series in the playoffs for at least first round. Because was that the Eastern Conference Finals last year or the
no,
second
no,
round?
it was the
That
second
was the
round,
second round.
Second round,
but
but that was yes,
but it was such a big upset because the Heat beat them in four. They beat the number one seed as a fifth seed in
yeah.
four or in 5 games. I mean,
No, I know.
uh,
I think Giannis was hurt like the last two, but even then, I don't
yeah,
think he probably would have made it like a game or two deeper. But I think the Bucks not being in the spotlight this year is gonna do wonders for them.
yeah. I mean, I've been brainstorming about the entire playoff bracket, predicting who's gonna make it through and whatnot, and that one is like probably the hardest one for me to really pick because I'm just like, okay, obviously the Heat know how to defend Giannis and to uh just they have a game plan already about the Bucks, and then obviously Eric Spoelstra's he's a smart enough coach to make adjustments either within the series or right before the series because obviously the Bucks have changed a lot and arguably even though they're not the one seed in the East anymore, they arguably have improved. Uh, and so we'll see if the improvements from the Bucks are enough to overcome such a solid team like the Heat. And Jimmy Butler is coming out and saying like, "Oh, I'm locked in for the playoffs," and they're hyping it all up and stuff. And we'll just have to see how it goes.
Those guys, the Heat,
Yeah,
Eric Spoelstra, like they are rounding into form like a
yeah,
boxer. Like and
yeah,
like I don't watch a lot of boxing, but I've watched a lot of Rocky movies and those training montages near the end where Rocky is
mhm,
in shape at the right time. That is
mhm,
what I am reminded of. Jimmy
mhm.
Butler, work hard, be the man. Like I'm excited. However, I am not trying to sleep on the additions that the Bucks have made. I
Yeah,
think
Yeah,
I
that
know.
I think that Drew Holiday, simple to say, is going to come a long way. Addition by subtraction of Eric Bledsoe. Just ask the Pelicans; they didn't make the playoffs, not even close. Sorry that Zion got injured, but
Yeah,
just having a guy that's going to be deer in the headlights for real, is a big negative. And
yeah,
they got Drew Holiday for basically a steal. Somebody like that can space the floor and knock down shots. Bobby Portis playing well,
mhm,
so I
this
want.
is
I'm pulling for Jimmy Butler. I'm a big fan. I want him
yeah,
to overcome whatever he can, but I wouldn't be surprised if that series went either way.
yeah,
Great pick,
yeah,
Robin, on that one.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
The other one that I think is probably the most intriguing is going to be, well, I mean, you kind of stole it, but I love seeing the New York Knicks play in the Garden. I've been there, once. They've already sold. I've been there twice. They've
Mhm.
sold out
The first two home games.
yeah, they sold out their first two home games already against the Hawks. It'll
Yeah.
be pretty cool to see Trey Young and see if he can execute in the playoffs. We know that he's got a lot of range. He's got great dribble moves. He's got some sneaky shenanigans as far as foul drawing that does change when the playoff whistles tighten
he's a
and
playmaker too.
he's a playmaker, but the refs want to put the whistle in their shirt and not decide the game for the
Yeah,
players. So if he's not getting that foul call, I want to know how they respond. Nate McMillan has done a great job turning that series or that franchise around. When they were tanking, they were going to fall out of the playoff bracket. They
Mm.
fired their coach Lord Pierce, went with Nate McMillan. So that's another one that I want to watch. And as I don't want to discount the Wizards, as we just saw, they kind of have the ability to steamroll weak teams, but they're
Mm.
playing the opposite in the Philadelphia 76ers, a strong team, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. I want to see some monsters plays from
Yeah.
the runner-up MVP.
Uh,
So
I actually on Twitter, Worldwide Wah, but he was also like kind of hyping up that series a little bit because
mhm.
of Russell Westbrook and Joel Embiid. They've had some history of button heads throughout games and stuff like back when Westbrook was on OKC and stuff. So Uh, both of those guys, they don't neither of them back down from anything, and they also have lots of energy and mouths to keep up with it too. So, well, I think it'll be cool to see. Uh, I think out of like, I would give like the Wizards like a 5% chance to win the series, like a 5% chance. But obviously, Beal's hurt.
And they
He's
got
not
Ben Simmons
100%.
on the other team to
Yeah,
guard him.
yeah,
you know.
to guard Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook, or Russell Westbrook. But
Hmm.
yeah, it would be extremely tough to see, but it's the 76ers have fallen short before, so it's not like impossible, but it is impossible for the most part. But I think that the biggest upset potential is probably right there in that series, because I feel like there's zero chance of upset like in between like the Nets or the next Celtics, just because the Celtics have been like so underwhelming. Uh, and then also the Nets are coming back to form with all three of their star players coming back, so it's like, it's get ready for next season.
Uh, Another good series in the West, which I'm kind of comparing to like the Milwaukee Miami series, is the Nuggets and Trailblazers. I think that's
You
gonna be
think so?
good. That can go either way. Yeah, I think because the Clippers Mavericks, you kind of had to know that's gonna be Lakers Suns. That's
I
gonna
mean,
be really good to
I mean,
watch, but
Lakers. I mean, not Lakers. Clippers Mavericks could go either way.
that
Like
could go either
I
way. But the Nuggets Trailblazers can truly go either way. Like there's no you can't say, oh, that's the Nuggets for sure.
Yeah, as long
There's
as the Portland defense can kind of play,
yeah.
decently on a string outside of Nurkic and even Cantor a little bit, I think they
uh,
definitely have a shot because
uh,
they're missing, the Jason Terry to Dirk, like they're missing Murray to Jokic. So,
mm,
Yeah.
we'll see. Man, it's so much excitement and it's so hard to keep up with so many games. There's multiple games on every day throughout the
mm,
entire first round, but I can confidently say that if two of us of the three are watching in real time, maybe an exciting game to the end of the night, just like we're live right now. We're gonna jump on live afterward, try to give you guys some hot, fresh takes when we can. All of us have full time jobs; it can be difficult, but we're gonna do our best to give you guys the content that y'all deserve. Give the people what they
mm.
want. So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if the Warriors get the eighth seed, there's potential there, like to have a fun series against the Jazz, and then same with Suns and Lakers. I mean, I think, I just think probably the Suns are gonna win the series. Probably. Like I would say the Suns are probably favorites. I mean, I don't like it's never really good to bet against LeBron James, but like this is like a
it's gonna
tough
be
team.
it's gonna be so fun to watch Chris
Yeah,
Paul play against LeBron James. Has this ever
yeah,
Yeah.
happened? I don't think it has.
No, it hasn't. That's gonna be
Um,
fun though.
yeah. No, yeah, it hasn't.
Yeah, it's gonna be wonderful, and we are gonna put in our official predictions before the playoffs begin on Saturday, the full playoffs.
Hmm.
And so check out our Instagram for those picks. We're gonna
Okay.
leave votes up on our stories for each of those, so you guys can vote as well, or we'll bring them up on our next broadcast.
Hmm.
Do you guys want to go ahead and let people know where they can follow us? Anything else y'all had to add on the playoff previews?
Nah, I'm excited. This 2021 playoffs they're shaping up to be really really hype.
Only thing I got to say is Kevon Looney's gonna go off tomorrow. He's listening to this podcast. He's going off. He's dropping 15 with 10 boards.
Awesome, awesome. So that's terrific. Let's go ahead and let people know. Kyle, do you now know where people can find us?
Yeah, people can find us at Shotcaller Show on Twitter and Instagram, as it shows right there at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, you can follow me and Robin's personal Instagrams. We'll be contributing to the channel as well. We'll have links uh, to the Shotcallers Twitter and Instagram. Uh, they were here in this corner right here for me and
All right.
Robin.
I'll
Uh,
bring them back. Oh, they've been on
yeah,
the whole episode, so
yeah,
you,
yeah,
you can follow Kyle for audio listeners at Kyle. That's KY1EF1,
Why
and
is
you
it
can
so
follow
complicated, bro?
It's
you can
not that
follow Robin
complicated. Once you see it,
at
it's not that complicated.
the Robin Sahota, the
The
ROBINSAHOTA.
the
But
Robin
Simple.
Shada.
are we
Shada.
talking? Are we talking about y'all's Instagrams or where they can
No,
follow the podcast?
the podcast. Podcast, of course.
Yeah, but as far as on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on Stitcher, on Radio.com, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and anywhere else that podcasts can be sold, you guys can send us an email at
Hmm.
shotcallershow@gmail.com to get into our mailbag. And please, a rating and review goes a
Yeah,
long way, a long way, a long way. So we
a
appreciate
lot.
you guys tuning into this episode, whether it be live or after the fact. And please watch out for the audio. Shout out to Guillermo, who shouted us out and said, "Hey, keep the audio coming because that's what I listen to Friday mornings."
Hmm.
So we appreciate you,
Yeah.
and that's it for my episode. Anything you guys wanna end on? Any final words? All right. So I'm your host, Rich. I got Robin. I got Kyle. Thank you guys for tuning in to our first, or not our first live episode on StreamYard. And we're
Yeah.
looking forward to using this platform to give you guys great content. So we'll
Hmm.
see you guys very soon. We'll keep an eye out on Twitter and Instagram for our live announcements.
Yeah.
See you guys next time.